What's cracking, everybody? No machines today. Uh, doing one from the pad. Uh, so seems like the last video got a lot of people thinking. There's a lot of commentary. Um, First thing I want to say, I want to clear up, is I don't personally have a problem with people identifying themselves as Chicano. It's just that because I was in the pen at a time when they said that word is divisive in there, that it shouldn't be used. I don't use it. I don't identify myself as that. When I'm asked, I say I'm Mexican, okay? And ask anybody who hates Mexicans what you are, they ain't gonna say Chicano. They're gonna say you're Mexican, if you're lucky. More than likely, they would say something else, especially if there's something in between you. But, you know, it's a lot of commentary had me thinking also, because, you know, there's so many of you that are very, very proud of being Chicano, and so many of you that are proud that, you know, you're born here, and there's a lot of dislike of the Mexicanos born over there because they don't like us over here. And, you know, I understand when some of you guys say that stuff, you know, I know what you're talking about, but I know they don't like, okay, let's put it like this. That is a direct product of the conquest. You know, first of all, we come from tribal peoples who would try to dominate their neighbors. And we have division to this day, whether it be if you're born in Mexico or the United States, or you're from Southern California or Northern California. Isn't it a shame that our people are the only ones that do that? Isn't it a shame that, like, how many Chinos do you know of that say he's not really Asian, he wasn't born in Asia? They don't do that. How many Irishmen do you think would say if you're born in America, you're not an Irishman? No, they claim them. But yet our people, for whatever reason, well, I know the reason, there's always that, well, he's not because, or I'm more because. And that's a terrible thing. And so that's why I personally, I don't care if I'm not as accepted in Mexico. I'm Mexican. It's a fact. It's a fact that those that do not like Mexicans are not gonna, if there was some kind of crazy thing that happened and they said we're deporting all Mexicans, do you really believe that they would say you can leave the Chicanos? No, that's not gonna happen. Everyone that's of Mexican descent will go. So anyways, that was just my little 2 cents on that. Something I wanted to talk about was the name of the video. Are we oppressed? And if we are, do we bear any responsibility in that? And I say that because are we treated equally when compared to whites? No, we're not. Do we get a fair handshake in the criminal system? Absolutely not. And, you know, I can tell you when I was in the county jail, I had already caught my murder. I was there, I was fighting my case. At the time, I was still charged with special circumstances. So I still had the death penalty, or LWOP, over my head, right? And there was a white boy that had paroled, and they used to have a hotel in Santa Barbara, downtown area, called the Falding. And that's where they would send all parolees that didn't have a place to go. They would send them to the Falding. Well, there was this white boy and he was sitting out in the parking lot drinking with some other people, and uh, there was a white girl there. She was a prostitute, and this black dude came, started beating her up. Turns out I was her pimp or something, I don't know. And so the white boy gets up and just fucks him up, right? The black dude takes off. White boy stays there drinking. The black dude comes. And anyways, long story short, the white boy went upstairs because there was an altercation. White boy went upstairs, and he wound up getting a rifle. Yeah, there was a rifle that he got from someone. You know, it all came out in the news, but I'm not going to go into the details. Just bottom line is this. He got the rifle. He went to a window. He shot, fired one shot, and he killed the black dude in the parking lot. And there was a crackhead that was helping the authorities that told on the white boy. And the crackhead said that when the white boy shot him and he turned around and he saw the crackhead, these are the white boy's words. I don't use this word, but this is just to show. This was evidence that was in the news, that was part of the record. The white boy told that crackhead, that's how you kill a nigger. That white boy got 12 years. The deal they offered me was 20 to life. That I told him, shove in your ass. So I know firsthand. I've seen it. I grew up in the system. I know we don't have a fair shake. And it reminds me of when Bulldog Face asked me a long time ago about speaking about how the elite profit off of people of color being in the prison system and basically profit off the prison system, period. That's a true story. But do we bear any responsibility for choosing to break these laws? Do the decisions that we make carry any weight as far as the oppressor being able to oppress us? Because O.J. Simpson killed 2 people. We all know it. But he had the money to fight the case and beat the case. And so while the system is rigged, is it rigged more towards race? Which I think it is. But is there a loophole where money comes in? I think it does. And I feel like in order for us to get out of this cycle we're in, at some point we have to acknowledge that there's laws, and have to acknowledge that as with all the generations that have tried to buck the law, it didn't work. We didn't change a fucking thing. Instead, they made the laws even harsher, and they put more people of color away. So at some point we have to acknowledge the law and then figure out how to use the law to our advantage. And that would be through education, right? The law can't fuck you over. Now, don't get me wrong. There's people, I know guys in prison that are still in prison to this day after decades of being in prison that did not do the crime. But they fit the description, or who that set them up, whatever it was. But my point is, if we continue to blame someone or something else while we make bad decisions, we're justifying the bad decisions that we're making, and we will continue to make them until we hold ourselves personally accountable. And I think that until we do that, until we teach our kids that, there won't be much change. We can't, senators and mayors and presidents are not going to help people of color. Stop believing that. We can only help ourselves. So I challenge people to just start paying attention to what they believe in, paying attention to the choices that they want to make. You know, there ain't a motherfucker on this planet that wants their kids to go through what they went through if they went through hard times. And so it's important that you teach them what you learn. And yeah, kids don't want to listen. They always think, my dad ain't cool. He don't know. Or my mom don't know. We did the same shit. But trying to teach them from a young age personal accountability, I think would really help out. And focusing on education, that's major. Nobody likes school, really. But it's even worse when you got to go ask that guy you picked on at school for being a nerd, when you got to go and ask him for a job in 10 years, right? While he's driving a Mercedes, you got that hoopty, you know? Or you got that 15-year-old car on some fucking $3,000 rims thinking you're flying, you know? So that's just something to think about, man. If we are oppressed, do we have any responsibility in it? Is there anything that we could do to better the situation even slightly? And could that slight betterment change your future and your kids' future? I think you know the answer. It's yes.